Welcome to Life Verbs podcast. I'm your host, Zen. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch my amazing, enlightening podcast session with Beatrice Dixon. Be sure to join Beatrice and I this Thursday, November 12th at 9 p.m. on my Instagram page. We're going live, y'all. That's right. You can interact with Beatrice and myself in real time. So bring your questions, bring your conversations, and we look forward to seeing you this Thursday, November 12th at 9 p.m. Details are in the description box. Enjoy. Today, Life Verbs podcast community, we have a very, very special guest. We have the founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Co. Miss Beatrice Dixon herself is in the building. Welcome, Beatrice.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and we are so happy to have you. Would you like to speak a little bit on the Honey Pot Co?
Yeah, at the Honey Pot, we are a plant-based, plant-derived. I'm trying to get away from saying feminine, feminine care brand because we're a vagina company, right? So
Right.
that's how I view us. I view us as the vagina company. With that being said, we really focus hard. Our whole goal is to make everything, for the most part, that a woman needs for her daily, monthly, sexual. If something pops up and your coochie's not acting right, we want to be the brand that you turn to for your menstrual products, for everything that you need for your vagina. So, the dope thing about our company is it's made by humans with vaginas. I'm one.
Yes.
Yes. and it's for humans with vaginas. And by that, we mean every human. Trans men, trans women, women.
Oh, excellent.
Everybody. Young women, you first gotten your period. It doesn't matter. If you have a vagina,
It's for you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And even if you don't, even if you see your whatever you got as a vagina, it's for you.
It's for you, okay?
Yes.
It's still gonna do you good, okay?
Exactly.
I know for me personally, I utilize the sensitive skin wash and I also use the calming spray. I absolutely love your products.
Thank
Community,
you.
if you have not tried the Honey Pot products, I encourage you to go and try them out. Beatrice, where can they find your products?
You can find our products at Target, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Kroger, a lot of stores. What I would recommend is you go to our store locator, you put in your zip code, it'll tell you all the stores that we are in nearby you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So Beatrice, here at Life Verbs podcast, I always ask my guests about a life verb that they live by. And what a life verb is it's a life philosophy that you live by that is obtained through your personal life's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
What is a life verb, Beatrice, that you live by?
That I'm here right now.
Yes. Yes. Can you dive a little bit deeper into that, of what you mean by that?
Any moment that I'm here, I'm grateful for it, man. If I can say that,
Yeah.
it's a good day. Even if it's a bad day, even if I'm not there, my goal is to always try to get back to there,
Yes, I can relate.
Sometimes it takes a little longer than others, but it's okay.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And I also feel, in these times that we are living in, it's so beautiful to hear you say that. That's so real. In these times that we're living in, that is something to be thankful for.
It is. Yeah.
Still having life, because life is such a beautiful, beautiful, precious, precious treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
feel like, in this pandemic, that is something that I feel we all learned
Mm-hmm.
is appreciating the value of life more, appreciating the value of time more,
Mm-hmm.
and doing what makes you happy. It's not always about doing what gets you the check, right?
Right. Right. I mean, don't make me wrong. The check matters.
Yeah, definitely.
But not more than your happiness.
Yeah,
Not at the expense of your happiness.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not the expense of your happiness. Definitely, definitely. As Black women, Beatrice, what makes our vaginal microbial profile different? Would you say that our profile is different? And would you also say, is it different when it comes to pleasure as well?
I don't think it's different. I think that well, first of all, everybody's vagina is different, right? Um, some of them look different. Some of them are small. Some of them are big. Some of them have flaps. Some of them have less flaps, right? Some people's clitoris goes inside. Some people's clitoris stands out, right? Some are thin. Some are fat. Some are right. Some are juicy. However, whatever euphemism you want to use. Some, may have a pH of 4. Some may have a pH of 4.5. Some, everybody's vagina is different, right? Some people who have infections, maybe their pH is higher, right? So I don't think that because we're Black, um, that our vaginas are different. I think that the system would have us believe
Mm,
that
mm,
as Black women we suffer more, with this, that, and the third, right? I mean, I know statistics are statistics, but I believe that sometimes statistics are meant to condition us.
yes.
And so if we read in the statistics, we might believe the shit that we reading, right? Or it could very well be true, but I don't have that answer, right? A vagina is a vagina. Um, there's healthy ones. There's not so healthy. There's ones that have gone through a lot of trauma.
Mm,
Um, you know, there's just all types of situations. And a white woman, an Asian woman, a woman, a Latin woman, a Black woman could all go through the same thing,
yeah.
right?
Definitely.
So I'm not a person who uh, I look at all of us as human beings and
Yeah.
earthlings.
Yes.
We're all made of blood, bone, tissues, and water,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and and it's a human condition that that was unfortunately partnered with an illness called racism,
Mm, mm-hmm.
that has just really beaten us down,
Yes.
you know. So no, long answer to say no. I do not think that Black women's vaginas are different. Um, I think all vaginas are amazing.
Yes. 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 Very much so. And I thank you for setting the record straight with that because, as you said, we are very much conditioned and told otherwise. We're told everything about us, especially being, Black women is different. We're
Mm-hmm.
so different, not even unique,
Mm-hmm.
different, not normal,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like normal doesn't really exist, right? Because
I mean,
everybody,
right? What does that even mean?
like,
That shit is so relative. It doesn't mean a
yes,
thing. You know, some person's normal could be another person's fucking crazy, right?
okay, okay,
And so you know, everybody's gonna have their frame of mind of how they live their life, how they see themselves in the world. My personal way of seeing myself in the world is that I'm connected to everything in the world.
yeah.
Even though sometimes you can feel disconnected, right? But I just think that we're more connected than what we've been taught to believe.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I love how your products are affordable because period poverty is real. And I feel that this is something that is not really discussed and talked about enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With period poverty, can you give us some enlightenment on period poverty? Because I just feel like it's not something that everyone is aware of, and how serious it really is, and how important it is to have affordable products that are plant-based, that are healthy. I really believe that our healing is in the vegetation. We don't need all these chemicals and manufactured processes.
Well, look, all of it's manufactured process,
Okay.
right? All chemicals. You can have a toxic chemical, and I don't mean to correct you. I just want to be clear.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely.
I'm not trying to be rude. There's toxic chemicals and there's non-toxic chemicals, right? Everything is a chemical. Everything is. Herbs can be more powerful sometimes than pharmaceuticals, and some pharmaceuticals are made with nutraceuticals, right? But I agree with you. I think that us being earthlings, we are more connected to the planet through all the things that come naturally out of the planet: vegetables, water, grain, rice, beans, all that stuff, right? I'm not vegetarian or vegan. I eat that way a lot of the time, but I also eat what I want when I want, right? But period poverty shows up in a lot of ways, man. It can show up through the way that my friend Chelsea from #HappyPeriod experienced it when she was driving down the street and saw a homeless woman walking across the street with blood-soaked clothes. Wow. Right? Wow. She then stopped and talked to the woman. Just talk to her, just because somebody should fucking talk to her, right?
Yeah.
And she went to the store and she got her panties and things to clean herself up and bought her pads and all the things, and then decided that she would make a movement out of it. That's a form of period poverty, right? Period poverty also shows up right here in America, right? In low-income households where there may or may not be a mother, or may or may not be a father, right? And mother or father is doing their best with the tools that they got. And maybe they don't have the money to buy their baby pads, or maybe their baby doesn't feel, that's actually a different form of period poverty. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But that can show up for them too, because they don't have they don't have the money. They literally come from nothing. Right? And maybe their school is a low-income school, right? So they can't necessarily go to the nurse and ask for period products because maybe the school doesn't have it. And then let's even talk about now. Yeah. Maybe school isn't even fucking in right now because of what's happening with COVID. Period poverty can show up in households where there can be love lacking, where there could be sexual trauma happening. And the child is just having their cycle and nobody's talking to them about it. right? And they don't know what to do. Or it could be a child who doesn't even connect with their body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's a little girl who's like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be a little girl. I feel like I'm supposed to be a little boy.
Yeah.
Right? And the world is beating that boy down and shoving sin down his throat and all the things, when this is just naturally how he feels. He meaning she, right? That's period poverty. Period poverty can happen by these little girls in Africa who have to literally miss school because they're bleeding on lapa. You know, lapa is that African fabric. You know how thin that fabric is? Or maybe the school they go to doesn't have a toilet.
Gosh.
Right? Period poverty can happen in some ethnic communities or villages where they got to go to a hut and bleed and not leave until they're done.
And that periods last for days.
But
wow.
But then again, that's cultural, and maybe they're okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. But then maybe some people aren't.
Right.
So period poverty shows up in multitudes of ways, and it's not it. In my opinion, it doesn't just show up because you don't have access to a pad or a tampon or a cup. It could be because you don't have the support that you need to.
Definitely. And even when you just mentioned about the schools, they may not have, any tampons or pads. I remember when I was in school, it was like always the tampon and pad that fits all. And I'm like, how are you just going to have one size?
Right.
Everybody's flow is different.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
But at least they had it.
True. That's true. That's true. At least it was there. Yeah. Because I can't imagine if it wasn't there, and some people, like you said, they experience that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I noticed the words here and now that are tattooed on your head. I saw this in a picture and it spoke to me. I love it. What is the meaning and significance behind the ink?
All of the ink on my hands is literally meant to subliminally condition me.
It's amazing.
Here and now is just getting, I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Just be present, man.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I can be, it doesn't happen a lot, but it recently just happened. Like last week, I was very neurotic. I was very in my head.
Yeah.
I was very, didn't feel very happy, and so it just helps me get back, if that makes sense, when I'm not here.
Kind of like center, like grounding yourself, would you say?
It's more like turn your fucking brain off and get here right now and stop thinking so fucking much.
Got it. Got it. I feel you on that. Look, baby, I need to get that on my hand for real, because there are times I'm the same way, Beatrice. Like I'm in my head.
Mm-hmm. And really, it's only in your head.
Yeah.
All the shit you saying is only in your head. It's only real because you are thinking that it's real in that moment. Most of the time. And don't make me wrong. Sometimes it's real.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, shit's not really that real,
So true. True. It's like you're creating it's a false reality in your mind.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to places that don't even exist.
Right. Destination nowhere. It's not even relevant yet.
It's like right now, do I have food? Do I have water? Do I have on clothes? Am I wearing perfume? Do I got on all this jewelry? I got on this nice hat. I got on this lipstick. Why the fuck am I worried about something that could happen tomorrow? Like I'm,
Facts. Just being here right now. So are they kind of like, would you say affirmations?
Yeah,
Like you wear
definitely.
your affirmations on your hands, which is
I do. I wear my affirmations on my hand. I have so many.
I love it, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Another quote, there was a quote that you posted, and it says you don't have to know where you are going to be headed in the right direction.
Mhm.
Why do you think some people have a hard time finding direction in their life? And what words of wisdom would you share to help foster their growth?
Look, I can't foster anybody's growth but mine.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, it's important. I think it's important for you to have an idea of what you want out of your life, how you're curating your life, what overall, right? How do you want to live? How do you want to eat? How do you want to drink? How do you want to dress? How do you want to smell? I think those things are important because those are the little things.
Yeah.
Um, but I also see power in kind of, I don't want to say letting life happen as if you don't care about it,
Mm-hmm.
but also understanding that sometimes you got to be in a moment for dope shit to happen.
Facts.
Sometimes you just got to say yes to something you don't necessarily understand, and not have to be in this place where you want to be in control, um, you know, because control is an illusion. That shit doesn't really exist, right?
Facts.
So so when you can understand that and be in the moment, right? Like, I've been in some really cool situations, right? Where I just like went with it. It's like, wow, how did I end up here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I don't really take it on past that moment, but it's like, oh, this is fun. This is cute,
Yeah.
And most of the times when I'm in those scenarios where I've like ended up in a cool place or meeting a really dope human, that doesn't even have to be on like no celebrity shit, but just like in a cool space, right time, right place, with a really cool like even in this moment, right?
Yeah.
Like this is one of those moments.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think being open to yes, because yes can bring you a lot of power,
Yeah.
right? Yes can bring you to some cool shit. And sometimes you don't even have to know all the details to be in yes. Like you started out and you were like, let's go through run a show. And I'm like, why are we going to do that? Why don't we just
Right.
have, right? Like that's, so I just prefer to live my life that way. I'm a person who like, I will get on a fucking airplane tomorrow. Where are we going? Right.
Yes.
Just because I like to live. I like to enjoy myself. So again, I can't really foster that for anybody else, but I do understand the power of being in the space to be open to doing something that you don't understand, you know, because a lot of times the fun is in the journey, you know,
Yes.
of the unknown.
Yes, of the unknown, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And, you know, we don't always have the answers to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something else that, a lot of people, struggle with, and it's okay. You don't have to have the answers. You don't
Uh-uh.
have to know. You don't have to always look, 5 years down the road or
Mm-mm.
just live in the moment, because I feel like when you're so focused on living outside of the moment,
Mm-hmm.
kind of clouds your vision and you
Yeah.
miss those special things that happen, those
Yeah.
valuable things that take place.
Yeah. Those life verbs, right?
Yeah. Beatrice knows what it is. Okay. She gets it. Yes.
Funny.
Those life verbs, yes.
Girl, stop covering yourself up. You're beautiful.
Oh,
let it hang out a little bit. You all good.
Okay, thank you. Hey, look, if Beatrice says so, yes, okay. Okay.
Seriously.
You know, some people have a hard time changing direction in their life. Have you ever had to pivot in your life? And I feel like especially with this pandemic, because so many things that have happened, people have lost, their homes, they've lost their jobs at no fault of their own, and they're finding themselves having to pivot. Have you ever had to pivot?
Hell yeah. I pivot all the time.
Really?
Yes.
Often.
Yeah, I pivot all the time because you never know where you're gonna be at in your space and time, right? And when I'm going through some some heavy personal shit, which I'm in one of those moments now. I'm having to really work with myself to die to some things. There's nothing wrong with my health. I'm fine. Everything's good. I think being able to say to yourself, like, look, what are you going to do? Do the best that you can. Right. And the rest will follow.
Yeah.
I have to be I'm in the public eye, and if you know me, you know that's, I don't want to say that it's not ideal, because I'm grateful that I'm here, because this is what's in the cards, right?
Right.
But I also I put a lot of value to my space and my energy and how I want to share it and how I want to give it. And I also feel energy a lot. So because we're honeypots in the public eye and I'm in the public eye, my name, and there's a lot of really beautiful energy coming towards me, a lot, and so I'm constantly having to pivot. I'm constantly having to listen to myself, to listen to how I feel, to relate to other people, how I feel that I should relate. Mm-hmm. At this point in my life, I feel like I want to keep things pretty simple and minimal, So I may not be having conversations with people that, or being around people that I would normally be around all the time, because I just feel to just keep things simple right now. For me, that's a pivot, pivots in business happen every day, because that's just the art of it. That's just what it is.
Yes.
But yeah, I pivot all the time, but my pivots are mostly focused on me being in alignment with myself, and accepting my feelings. Yeah. Because that shit can be hard, Yeah. Definitely. When you don't understand why you're feeling a certain way. What I've been focused on lately is like, I don't really need to understand. If this is how I feel, this is how I feel. What am I going to do? Right? Yeah. Just feel till I don't feel it no more. You know what I mean? So.
That has been, honestly, B, that has been me this week. I've just been feeling, because I'm an empath, so I can really feel those energies. Like you were saying, you can tell.
Me too.
It's strong, like even in the store, because I used to be in the beauty industry, and I was a beauty executive, and I was in there with other vendors. And when a vendor entered, I could feel it at the door. The energy that they were bringing in. And I purposely would walk around the store and make sure I was in the opposite direction. Because they say with empaths, the best way to protect your energy is, they literally say, distance yourself 20 feet. But I'm like, distance period,
Yeah.
is what helps. you know, but I've been thinking that this week. I'm like, I need to get to that point where, like how you have realized, you don't have to understand why you're feeling that way, why you're feeling that energy. Just feel it out, because it too shall pass.
It will. It will. It will. It's just a moment. That's what my brother always says. It's just a moment, you know. And he's right. It really is. And
it's just
yeah,
yes.
it's just a moment. And
Yes.
And all we got to do is get to the next one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long as nobody died in the process, everything's probably going to be okay.
Exactly.
And even then, because that's a part of life,
yeah,
it's probably going to be okay, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And there's always something meaningful in the moments, whether it's a tough moment, whether it's a joyful moment, whether it's even a neutralized type of moment.
Yeah.
There's something to take from that moment. You are a ramen connoisseur, and I love ramen.
Me
I
and
used
you
to live
both.
in Hawaii.
Yeah. I love ramen.
Yes. I have to ask you, first of all, do you make your own? And second of all, is there a restaurant here in Atlanta that is amazing? Because I love it so much. I haven't tried any of the places here because it makes me nervous.
Yeah. I don't know if 8 Sushi still has it. 8 Sushi only made like 8 bowls of this lobster ramen every day. It was like 8 bowls or something like that. And like once those bowls are done, they're done. Crazy. That shit was amazing. And then there's a ramen place inside of in East Atlanta Village. My friend Q owns a restaurant called We Suki Suki. It's so good. It's like Vietnamese sandwiches. Fucking ridiculous. But yes, girl.
Oh,
but she has her place, and then right next door she has this really dope like food hall, and there's a good ramen place inside that food hall. It's like in the back. I can't remember the name of it, but it's really good. It's in East Atlanta Village. Yeah, but the best ramen that I ever had, it's so cliche, but it wasn't in Atlanta. It was in Japan.
Oh, yes. Authentic. Okay.
It was like so the Japan spot, the Japan ramen houses are small. It's like a counter. And there's like 16 seats. And you gotta wait in line to sit down. You literally have to wait in line to sit down. And I think I waited in line for like 30 or 40 minutes. And because it's all different types of ramen, you know, there's all different types. But my favorite was the creamy chicken ramen. And that's all that this place made. They didn't make no other type of ramen. Like if you went there, that's what you went there for. It was so good.
That sounds oh my goodness,
it was absurd. Amazing. It was so good. Like if I could just like take a bath in that and just like eat it as I'm bathing. It's disgusting, but that's how I feel about it. Yes. It was ridiculously delicious.
If you could just bathe yourself,
if I could just
that creamy, yes.
Put it in my hair. It's so good.
That would be one of your happy places.
Me and Linda. So Simon and Linda are my co-founders. Me and Linda always talk about that. The other food that does me is like nachos. Like I love real, authentic, dirty, disgusting. Like when I go to Phoenix, I'm going to Filiberto's. I gotta go there, right? I want like real, authentic Mexican food. Like Filiberto's used to be hood back in the day. They've cleaned it up now. But I love Mexican food, like real, even if it's clean Mexican, if it's vegan Mexican. That's another one for me.
That's my favorite food too, is Mexican food. So on that note, what is your favorite Mexican restaurant in Atlanta? Because I'm gonna write all these down and I'm gonna check them out.
My favorite Mexican in Atlanta. Me and my niece just went to this vegan Mexican restaurant called Chi Chi Tacos. It was good.
Chi
It was
Chi
really Chi
tacos.
Chi Tacos.
Okay.
Chichi. And then I don't really have a favorite Mexican place in Atlanta. I hate to say that.
It's hard to find the authentic,
It's
like
hard.
true
Yeah.
authentic here.
No. Well, I like Elmer's burritos. Let
Okay.
me back up.
Okay.
And I like what's the name of that? Taqueria on How Mill.
Yes.
Those bean tacos are absurd.
Ooh,
They're ridiculous.
I love
Yes,
Cheerios and
me
beans.
too.
I love beans.
I love beans too. Yeah, I'm like a bean, like anywhere in those neighborhoods of food. And then soup. I can literally like live on soup.
What's your favorite soup?
I love any soup that's like spicy.
Mm.
It could be like a vegan, like black-eyed pea soup with a bunch of chunky vegetables. It could be like,
I love chunky veggies.
yes, like I made like organic chicken soup and I like made it from scratch and I cooked it all day type of vibe. It could be like, I love egusi soup, like Nigerian food.
Oh,
I love any like Nigerian food, any kind of, any. I love West African food
okay.
so much. I like food. I like culture. I like spice. I like,
Flavor. Okay.
Yes.
Flavor. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, B, please give your closing remarks that you want to speak to the community, any food for thought. You have shared so much food for our souls on this podcast session, but is there anything that you would like to leave everyone with today?
Yeah, just to remember to be good to yourself, and to remember that, like, I was listening to James Baldwin. I forget I think it was called like The Struggle or something. It's on Apple. It's on Apple Music. And he was giving a talk and he was talking about when he was a kid, he thought that he was the only kid that was 5'8" in his mind, that was ugly, that, and he just started listing all these things, all these issues that he had in his head. Like he was the only person that thought that. Obviously, when he gained his enlightenment, because, James Baldwin, Angela Davis, Sonia Sand, I mean, they just knew how to, fucking Lonnie Liston, they just knew how to live like very humanitarian, like human, earthling vibes, right? But what he realized was that everybody feels that way or has felt that way, right? So understand that you don't have to be bad to yourself. Be good to yourself. Give yourself some grace, man, and just get here, and when you're in a tough moment, when you're in a hard place, if you could just be there, because sometimes you just need to be there. Sometimes you need to be mad.
You gotta
Sometimes
feel it. You gotta feel
sad.
it.
Sometimes you need to be angry, right? Sometimes you need to fail and say shit that you don't want to say, but then you need to eat some humble food and go back and apologize. That's good for you, right? Yes. But it's also good for you to understand that, everything can't be good all the time. Everything can't be bad all the time. Nothing is neutral, right?
Right.
But if you can just take a moment and just think about it. Do I have all my things? Do I have food? Do I have a roof? It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
Right? When you're driving down the street and somebody cuts you off, it's easy to get angry and want to be mad and upset, but it's also easier to just be like, just die to it. Like, it happened already. Be cool. You know, nothing happened. You're okay. You understand what I'm saying? I just feel like more than ever, in order for us to be good to humanity, we have to be good to ourselves.
Right.
And there's so many moments where shit can go left and you can just make a terrible decision that will last for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can also make a very rational, calm, proactive decision and understand that somebody cuts you off is not the worst fucking thing in the world, especially if nothing happened to your car and you're still here. Right.
You survived.
So it's better to just relax, have your moment where you might be irritated, but you don't gotta like cuss them out and drive up and do,
right.
You know, that can be a quick way for you to lose your life, and it's just not necessary. And I'm only giving that as an example, because that's just an easy example. You know, that example can be anything, right? But I think now more than ever, we should just be more calm, cool, collected. Go inside of ourselves. If you're not happy, why aren't you happy? What's going on? You know, and sometimes you may not understand, and that's okay too. You know, but I just feel like we just have to give ourselves grace and be good to ourselves and love ourselves and be kind to ourselves and be grateful for ourselves, and understand that we're connected to everything, you know. So thank you.
This has been absolutely amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully this will not be the last time we see you at Life Podcast. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me on.